All right, welcome to the We Geek Together podcast. My name is Andrew. I'm the tavern keeper, and this is Spencer.
Hello, everyone.
He is a good friend and audio technician, part of the podcast. So we're going to be talking about the Dead Wars today. Very exciting stuff. But before we get to that, we always have the pre-show drinks where we just kind of catch up real quick, just talk about what's going on new in our lives and in the store, and then we get to the main topic for the podcast. So what's new with you?
It's a new year, new me, I guess. New everything.
School starting again?
Yeah, and I guess by the time this episode comes out, school will be started.
Super fun.
So I guess so. It'll be my last semester, and then I can go off and be a professional big boy.
Oh, last semester.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'll graduate and everything, so that'll be fun.
Hopefully.
But what about with you guys?
Store's doing great. Yeah, new year. December just finished, and December is an insane month as a retail month. We were slammed, and so now we're just kind of recovering, breathing for a second, restocking everything, and now it's kind of full steam ahead for the Dead Wars, actually. So that's the next big thing in our future. And I know it's only like 4 months away, but it's going to be here and like so fast.
Yeah. Anyways, not to like make a New Year's resolution, but we have talked about kind of ramping up our media game for this year.
True.
And so we're going to try and be a lot more consistent with podcast releases.
With everything.
As well as getting into streaming and other different kinds of video content and things like that.
Geek Together is going to have a huge multimedia program that we're going to be doing. This podcast is just part of it. Obviously, we still do like our normal social media videos, but we want to get into live streaming where we can live stream some of the games and the events in the taverns. We want to be able to do lore videos on the campaigns that we're running. I want to be able to show you guys some of the games we're running in the tavern. And so, yeah, we've been brainstorming, we've been figuring it out, and that's why we're doing this. This is more of just like we're getting the work in, we're getting the practice in. So even if like it's only my mom that watches this episode, we're getting in the work that is going to let us have better production down the line, which is huge.
Yeah. And this year, at least for the first half of the year, it's all leading to Dead Wars, which is kind of
that's the big
topic for today, I think.
Yeah. So the Dead Wars. So, boy, do we got a lot to talk about. So I just announced the release dates, May 3rd and May 4th, and we timed it up. Both the nearby colleges, BYU and UVU, get out the week before.
Nice.
So, like, finals should have finished by May 3rd and 4th. So it's right after finals are done for everyone. You get, like, a week to relax. And that is when we're having the Dead Wars. And it's interesting because last year, I could say that now, last year, in 2023, it was only 1 day. But this year, we're doing 2 days. And that's for a very specific reason. One of the problems we had with a lot of people is they couldn't make this Saturday work because of work, because of other commitments. Sometimes it's just hard to get a day off to do this. Being able to do this event over 2 days hopefully gives you more people the opportunity to come. And it's not going to be like the same game. It's not like we're playing one long game between both days. So this is kind of the pitch. It's like when you watch Star Wars, you have separate battles going on at the same time. You have like the on the planet Endor, they're trying to take out the shield generator, and then in space you have the people trying to blow up the Death Star. They're both very pivotal battles in the taking down the Empire, but they're happening completely separate from each other at the same time. Their objectives will interlink with each other, but they're completely separate. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose which day you want to fight in. Which army do you want to fight in? What are you fighting for? Are you going to fight on Friday or are you going to fight on Saturday? And I'll get even into the topic there. But so we're not expecting everybody to show up for both days. You can if you really want to. That's a lot. Playing D&D for an entire day for 2 days in a row is a lot. But the idea is hopefully more people can attend because, hey, if they can only make Friday, they can come on Friday and they can play in Friday's amazing game. And then they'll be able to log in or stream or listen to what happened Saturday and see what happened to the other army.
That's super cool. How much of that story is written and kind of set in stone already?
So we have Johnny, who's returning from the last Dead Wars. Hopefully we can have a podcast with him to talk more about the actual story. But Johnny is coming back in, and he's going to be doing the story for one of the days. And I am writing the story for Saturday. So he's writing Friday, I'm writing Saturday. And the story is this. Eldath in our first Dead Wars, Eldath, the goddess of peace, has died. She died. That happened during the game. And so there is now kind of a power vacuum. A goddess has left the rankings. The Pantheon. And so other lesser beings are kind of competing to fit her spot. And there are these two twin brothers, a prince of light and a prince of darkness. And they're twin brothers. They're like, they've been tied at the hip since they've been born, but one of them's over the divine domain, one's over a dark domain, and they are kind of competing to replace Eldath. They want to become the god of peace in their own way. But they're both not good people. They're both evil in their own different way, and I'll break down a bit more of their characters in later episodes. But both the gods are bad, or demigods are bad. And so the battle is going to be, one of the battles will be, you'll be fighting in, it's not hell, but you'll be fighting in a version of afterlife, a death realm. And you'll be fighting the Dark Prince. And then the other, you'll be fighting in a type of heaven, a divine realm, where the Divine Prince is. And so you'll be fighting either against the Dark Prince or the Light Prince, but they both have to die. They're both evil, and they both have to go. So that's the idea. That's the story. That's all locked in. And now we're coming up with a lot of the specifics, more about the different enemies you're facing, how you're going to be able to kill them. What does a siege on heaven look like? What does a siege on hell look like? So
that's cool. And last year there was a lot of like kind of theatrics. You had actors kind of playing some of the different roles and stuff like that. Is that you planning on bringing a lot of that back as well?
Yeah, we definitely want to update the production and work a lot more with the dungeon masters to be part of that production. So we're going to have more actors, and they'll be able to go around and interact with the tables, not to really distract from the game, but like hopefully to add to each table's game. Yeah, we're definitely going to be stepping up our production. So one big thing is Guinness came last year to ratify or verify our world record. We're not bringing them in for this one. So this is not going to be a Guinness record. It will still be a record because we'll still have, we're shooting for 1,500 people on each day. So that's already, that beats our record, but these games are still loosely connected, so you can either look at it as we're going to beat our record by 1,500, or we could be beating our record by 3,000. But it's not going to be like officially recognized by Guinness. The reason why we're not bringing them in is because Guinness costs a lot of money. And I'm not going to poo-poo on Guinness because I loved what they did for us, and they really opened up a lot of doors. But like, it's a business. They make a lot of money off of us. And so we decided instead of putting that money towards Guinness, that huge chunk of money towards Guinness, we are going to take that money and instead invest it into the event to not only up the production, have better actors and better decorations and better tables and all that stuff, but also hopefully to bring more value to the event. Yeah.
Yeah, you and I have been talking about, if we're going to have all of these different people, how are we going to make sure the performance is audible for everybody, how everyone can participate in a kind of equal way, and make sure nobody's like left out or, in a corner in the mall somewhere, can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Can't really.
You did the sound. You did the sound for the last one. How crazy was that?
It was an interesting problem to solve because, I mean, it was just in like the hallway of the mall, like in between all the stores. And if you've ever been in a mall, you know that they're not like acoustically treated.
They're all hard
right?
surfaces.
All hard surfaces,
tiles,
like
glass,
huge ceilings, and the sound just like goes out and echoes around forever. And when you add 1,500 people to that, it's just terrible. And so, and we were also we didn't quite have enough equipment.
We definitely
to really
didn't
pull
have
it
enough
off
equipment
in a good way. And so, knowing what we know now, I feel like we can really do something awesome for this next year.
Yeah, we're really going to be stepping up not only the audio broadcasting, so like every table is going to be able to hear what's going on, but a dream of ours is to have maybe TVs or projectors, so no matter where you are in the mall, you'll still be able to, at a glance, be able to see what's going on in the whole battlefield. Excuse me. In the whole battlefield. That was one of the pain points we felt, is the people in the wings or in the corners, while they were part of the battle, they didn't really get to feel that involved in it. And so we really want to be able to give everybody a really cool experience. So that's one of the big things we're working on. The other big thing we're working on is we're trying to bring in some industry people for this event. Since we're not bringing in Guinness, where are we putting that money? We're putting that money into some really cool people to come for the event. We have pretty much locked down One Shot Questers.
Okay.
One Shot Quester. Yeah, he's a YouTuber, podcaster. He does a lot of shorts. So if you've seen any D&D not cartoons, but any spoofs, any skits, you might have seen his stuff. He's really funny. So the Duke from One Shot Questers and his team have said they're going to be here. Not confirmed, but I have a meeting with Ginny D's team next week, which is really exciting. I would love to get Ginny D out here. I could dream for Critical Role. That they might be a bit too big for us. Maybe that's 2025. But the whole point is like we want to bring in people and make it more than just a game, but like a really cool event. Like, this is the TTRPG event of the year. That's our end goal. Just make it awesome.
That's super exciting.
Yeah. I'm really excited. We're reaching out to some publishers of different systems. Paizo.
As in, like, you want to play different systems at the Dead Wars, or what do you mean by that?
Well, so they can have booths there to show off and that kind of stuff. But I have been thinking about doing other systems as well. Because this isn't a Guinness ratified record, we have some more freedom. Okay? We don't have to have every single table playing the same exact system.
Interesting.
So if we gave every table rules, like, hey, you need to clear these objectives. You need to do these things. However, if your table wants to play Pathfinder, your table can play Pathfinder, again, as long as you're killing this amount of troops, or if you can light these beacons, or that kind of stuff. But mechanically, your table can do what you want to do.
That's interesting, where you kind of like give each individual group sort of the flexibility to play how they're maybe more comfortable playing.
Yeah, and I would love to be able to use other systems, be able to integrate more, because this is a TTRPG event. This isn't
a Dungeons and Dragons
event.
Interesting.
And I really want to celebrate the community and the people, and it's like a local game store. It's a melting pot of all these different things, and I feel like this convention should be that too. It shouldn't just be D&D. We should celebrate everything, and that's part of the reason why we're going so weird on the different realms that we're in. These are a bit different than what you're used to playing.
They're not Forgotten Realms settings. They're just kind of anything that you can imagine, just because it's not Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, yeah.
You mentioned a couple of things about like having booths with different companies or sellers or whatever. I don't think that there was some of that last year, but are you trying to like lean a little bit more heavily into like the convention kind of feel for this
aspect?
event?
I definitely see. I love conventions. I've been going for a long time for conventions. While the game will be the main focus, I would love to have people from the industry, people who are in this niche there as well. Because I feel like it does, not only does it, it gives the people who come something to do, like, hey, you can see all these cool things, but it also lets them build their own, it's just a win-win. When you have cool booths, when you have cool people there, it increases the experience for the people who come, but it also increases the experience for those businesses. And again, We Geek Together is all about working with cool people. And so, yeah, I know the Duke, for example, he's going to be bringing a vendor table because he has a company that does some stuff like that. And so, like, you'll be able to see him at his booth and buy his merch and stuff like that. And that will help him grow. And that's really cool that us in the nerd community, we can support each other. Again, like, it would be so cool if I could get like Darrington Press or MCDM. I know Dragonsteel, Brandon Sanderson's company, is probably going to be there because they've expressed a lot of interest in it. And so
that's so cool.
Yeah, I love working with these nerdy companies and definitely going to do that.
We talked about a month or so ago when you guys went to Dragonsteel, there was like this cool like mini game at the convention of like you go around to the different vendors and do kind of a fetch quest type thing.
Yeah.
It could be interesting to apply that same kind of game or sort of sub game or like meta game to the Dead Wars in a way, so that even people who aren't like playing the game or kind of like playing the game a little bit. I don't know. That was
they could do something. That'd be so cool. Like, because like I saw a lot of husbands who came and their wives and their kids came to support dad, but like, I'd love to do quests and things more than just the game. I'd love to have other things going on that people can go and see. And while during the game itself, it might be a little bit slower, but like after and before, you could do a meet and greet or the quest with these different vendors and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would love to do that.
That'd be awesome.
That would be.
So, stepping up our game.
Yep.
Across the board, really, for this one.
We're trying to get better in pretty much every aspect. In fact, us having this podcast is another step. We're hopefully going to release lore videos and a lot more news about it and stuff like that as we continue to grow on it. I hope to really make this awesome because I think it's just such a cool, like, an idea. Like, I'm nerding out so much that it's possible that we get to do this. And so, like, it's something I'm really passionate about. And I want to make it, like, epic. There's been so many people who've come up to me and they've been like, dang, that was, like, one of the funnest games I've ever played.
Yeah.
And what an honor that somebody would say that about something that we created. And so I want to do that again. I want to capture that magic and make it better. Make it more approachable. And there's so many things I'm trying to account to. One of the things I want to do is be able to have, because some people get pretty anxious in huge crowded situations.
Yeah,
understandable.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a ton of people around and it gets claustrophobic. So one of the things I want to do is be able to work with some of the other stores here in the mall and have them have a table in their store. And those are special reserved for they're more quiet tables for people who don't want to be like out in the huge chaos of it all, but they still want to be part of it. Yeah. And so like the movie theater, for example, I'm going to talk to them. They've got floor for like 10 tables.
Huh.
But it's very quiet in there. So they can absolutely host 10 games of people who don't want to just be like super overstimulated with all the sounds and all the people and all the smells
Right.
and stuff like that. And you'd still have like a point of contact and maybe a TV showing on what's going on, so
Sure.
you'd still be part of it. But yeah, there's a few spaces in the mall where we can set up a bit more quieter games, and that's just like one of the things.
Even this room we could do, like this
Yeah.
space could be that similar kind of quiet gaming space.
Yeah, and we're working like from Duke, the one-shot questers. He wants to be one of the generals, so he wants to run around and do the communication with all the tables. And
Cool.
so we are thinking of writing these specific characters, these in the campaign. So when he needs to rally his 30 tables, he can go out and rally them. And he'll come to your table to rally you and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And so, yeah, there's so many ideas that we are working on. Nothing confirmed yet, but yeah, it's really exciting.
That is exciting.
What a dream.
Well, it's a little bit of a shorter one today. But
Yeah.
You have any other thoughts on this kind of before we...
Yeah, let me think. We'll take a sip and cut this out here.
We just cut straight to...
My next point. Yeah, I didn't think about. What's my end goal with the Dead Wars? We're doing it again this year, 2024. Is this going to be a yearly event? And what's my ultimate dream of it? So yeah, I would love to do this yearly. I had a blast. And if people are wanting to come to it, absolutely, we'll do it yearly. I want to improve every year. And I think if we do it right this year, I think we'll outgrow them all in 2024. And I think this might be, depending on how many people actually show up. But if we actually max out our spots, I think this will be the last year we do it in the mall, and we'll move up to convention center. Convention center would allow us to do even more. Maybe the Salt Palace. There's a awesome convention center in Sandy. It's a bit smaller than the Salt Palace.
I know that one.
So we do it at a convention center. And we do have people from the industry coming every year to at this event. This becomes like the premier TTRPG event here in the States, where people can all gather under the same roof, play in one amazing game, but also see all of the cool things that are going on in the TTRPG space. Because there's so much cool stuff going on by so many different people. From people who make miniatures, to people who publish their own adventures, to artists. Like, there's so many cool, creative people in this niche. But we don't really have any one particular event specifically for that. Like, if you think about video games, there's a few huge video game conventions where, like, the big businesses come and they talk about what they're going to do and they show you the new trailers. But then they have, like, the indie floor where you can go out and meet all the indie developers and all the musicians for video games and stuff like that. And you get to rub shoulders with these people, which is such a cool thing. I would love that for TTRPGs. There's so many new books coming out, so many content creators, so many cool things that I would love to celebrate that and have that. So who knows? In 4 years, this is a yearly game, and we have the coolest people in here, and it's a really big event. But I want it to still be approachable. And that's, I don't know, we're learning that. I don't like how expensive conventions can be. Me personally, like when I have to shell out $100 just to go to a convention, and then, food.
The stuff in there is really expensive.
Everything is super expensive.
A souvenir you want is expensive.
Yeah, and so and I understand, supply and demand is totally a thing. And, if you only have space for 5,000 people, you probably can't be charging zero. And if you're pulling in people like Matt Mercer, Darrington Press, you have to pay them money to be there. So I understand, like, realistically, there are
expenses.
expenses, and there's things you have to pay for sure. But like, I don't want to gatekeep this hobby. I don't want to gatekeep this event. Like, so this is a big thing about Dead Wars compared to last year, is we will be charging a ticket fee. But we're looking at like $10 to $15, maybe at the most $20. But these $20 are going to be right by the front stage. We are
like different costed tickets for different places, and
it's mostly just like if you're going to be right at the front stage, those I think are going to be a bit more expensive VIP spots, and then every other table is going to be pretty cheap. Again, $10 to $15 a person. And hopefully there's even a way that if you just book it with your whole group, you get it even cheaper. Like if your Dungeon Master and 6 other players just book out a whole table, you just get a discounted. Or if the Dungeon Master buys it for everyone and then you pay the DM back, like hopefully there's like a cheaper option. I'm still working on the ticketing service. It's going to be like concert seating. So we're going to have a whole map of the whole floor. And then you can say, hey, Chris and Sam, we're all going to get seats at table 50. So make sure you buy table 50 and get it in today while we're all getting it in, so we can lock those spots down. So we're going to do concert seating. Should be a lot easier. But we are doing a ticket price. Last year when we did the Dead Wars, we technically, like, out of our pocket, we lost money from the event. This year, like I said, we want to go way bigger and do a lot of cool things, so we understand one of the big expenses is our sound system. Where we've been talking, we're probably going to have to spend anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 on a sound system that really covers the whole mall where everybody can hear. And that's just the sound. If we want to get TVs and projectors set up, that's probably another few thousand. And the tables themselves, I think it cost us $5,000 last year to just have the tables and the chairs. So it costs quite a bit of money, but we're going to keep, I'm not going to be charging $50 to $80 tickets for this event. It's going to be pretty reasonable. But yeah, I don't want to gatekeep this. I want to make it approachable for people because TTRPGs are awesome and people should celebrate that. It's funny. Maybe we change the order that we put this in because I'm like, I don't want to gatekeep it. Oh, but I'm charging money on this one. You can keep it in. I just realized like the order of operations
sounds kind of
there.
funny.
It sounded funny. I really am not going to gatekeep this event, but it costs money. So we'll just being honest there. We have final call for drinks. Where if there's anything interesting in the nerd space recently to talk about, we can talk about. Should we talk about Wizards of the Coast firing 20% of their staff?
That's kind of the awkward elephant in the room.
Oh,
like,
man.
It's a whole. It was Hasbro wide.
Yes, it wasn't.
So it was kind of like
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, it was kind of a whole company decision there rather than just Wizards of the Coast, but. It does still feel bad right there at the holiday season, especially coming off, another record-breaking year
for
of
them.
profits.
Yeah.
The heart goes out to those people, but
yeah, that's crazy. I hope I'm never going to get to that point. I'm not going to let go.
Last words.
Oh, boy. Hopefully not. Wizards of the Coast, don't be mad at me. We're just talking about news. So
that is a big one, though.
But yeah, that's it's interesting to just see everything that's going on.
You kind of wonder, what's the whole story here?
Oh, yeah.
Because it looks obviously really bad, and I don't mean to say that there's an excuse somewhere that would make it all make sense, but I'm not trying to excuse anybody's behavior or decisions or anything like that, but just there's something.
But business.
Yeah, we're only getting the part of the story that we're getting, and it's frustrating.
Well, and I'm running my own business and I'm seeing how numbers go and that kind of stuff. And I can't compare myself to Hasbro, where like my business is like a drop in the bucket to what they do. But like at the same time, it's good for me to see what things are going on, so I can, as I continue to grow, try to not fall into those same things. Okay, a cool thing we did this year, because January, February, March is the slim pickings for game stores. You just hit the holiday rush. Things are super crazy. People spend a ton of money. And then January, February, March, you're kind of recovering. So you don't really spend too much money in those months. And so I knew that was coming. It happened last year. So what we did is we set aside from October through December, we set aside a chunk of our profits. We're like, hey,
we're gonna need this when it gets,
we're gonna need this
dry.
Yeah, exactly. And so good on us for doing that. Hopefully it all worked out. We'll find out. But yeah, it's really interesting how the finances and the numbers work and that kind of stuff. So
it'll be interesting to see with Magic specifically this year how
that affects it.
Yeah, just how the year goes. They've announced a lot of big products coming out in the next several months and really through the end of the year. And some of it is like pretty exciting if you're into those games.
Types,
or there's
like Fallout.
There's some crossover products as well like that could be really interesting. So who knows if they continue to make record-setting profits year after year and do things like fire a fifth of their workforce, like something's got to give there.
All right. Well, that's the end of this episode. You can find us on a lot of social media stuff. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We post regularly. Like we said, we're going to be doing live streams. We might be even testing one this week. Well, actually, the week probably after. We've tested one already by the time you saw this episode.
It went really well. We're super excited
it was a success, about it. Probably. But yeah, we'll be doing a lot of stuff's coming out on our social medias, all under We Geek Together. You can find us there. And thank you. Thank you for spending some time of your day watching, listening, and being part of this. All right, I'm going to throw my phone at my brother who just walked in. All right, bye.